Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing how to make someone want you again. Get your ex back after a breakup. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing how to make someone want you again. Get your ex back after a breakup. So if you have been dumped and you want to try to get your ex back, something which is going to be on your mind is how can you make someone want you again? How can you make your ex want you again after a breakup when they dumped you? And hence in today's podcast, I thought I would give you 3 pieces of advice of how you can increase the possibility of your ex wanting you again in the future. Now, of course, it goes without saying that unfortunately, there is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back. But what you can do is increase the possibility of success. And hence, if you listen to the 3 pieces of advice that I'm giving in today's podcast, I believe that you will be increasing your chances of one day getting your ex back. So let's get straight into this. And number 1 is stop the rot. So at the time of the breakup, your ex, the dumper, had a very low level of romantic emotional attraction that they felt for you, the dumpee. This is because that when 2 people are together in a relationship, they are both feeling a high level of romantic emotional attraction for one another, but for various potential reasons, this level would unfortunately have dropped, and that is why somebody decided to end the relationship. That is why your ex became the dumper. At that moment, at the time of the breakup, the level of romantic emotional attraction that your ex, the dumper, feels for you is unfortunately very low. And what you need to be doing is making sure that you stop the rot. So if we just consider that graph, so to speak, when you was together, the level of attraction was very high. And as your relationship continued, for various potential reasons, this would have started to drop. And now at the breakup, we are at that low point. We need to stop the rot. We need to make sure that this doesn't fall any lower. Because if it keeps falling lower, the next step is that you will be blocked. The following step would probably be that your ex would contact the authorities on you, and so on and so on. Now, we don't want things to get that bad. And the way we can do this is by stopping the rot. And stopping the rot means that you need to respect your ex's decision. You need to understand that for your ex to ever want you back, you must first of all accept the breakup. You need to realise that your ex feels a very low level of romantic emotional attraction for you, and they see you as a low level individual. They see you as low value. You need to be raising your value. You don't want your value dropping any further. If you was to beg, to plead, to excessively reason with your ex as for why your relationship shouldn't end, this is low-level behaviour. This is low-value behaviour. This is behaviour which will move the level of romantic emotional attraction even lower. It will move it further down that curve, into the blocking zone, into the zone where they might contact the authorities saying that you are constantly bothering them, that you are hassling them, that you are stalking them. We don't want these things to happen. So first of all, point number 1 is stop the rot. Stop making things worse. Accept the breakup. Don't hassle your ex. Never contact your ex again unless your ex contacts you first, unless you have a legitimate, serious reason. If you do this, you are stopping the rot. If you do this, you're preventing that level of feeling that your ex has for you dropping any further. We need to stabilise that feeling at this low point and just not make sure it drops any lower. So now let's move into point number 2, and the second point of how you can make someone want you again after a breakup when they have dumped you. And point number 2 is become a version 2.0 of yourself. So in point number 1, we were talking about stopping the rot and stabilising the feeling that your ex feels for you, albeit that is a low feeling. In point number 2, we need to be increasing the possibility that your ex will one day start to grow feelings for you. We want that curve to start going upwards, that feeling of intrigue, of interest and attraction to rise. And we can start this process by becoming a version 2.0 of ourselves. So if you imagine yourself was a version 1 when you was with your ex, you now need to consider what you can do to become a version 2.0 of yourself. You might even go as far to say, as but at the time of the breakup, you are actually a version 0.5 of yourself. Because when you was with your ex happy in a relationship, that would be the version 1. Unfortunately, things have gone downwards. You are now a version 0.5. We need to increase this, not just back to your original level, but we want to go even further. Because if and when your ex contacts you again, this will mean that the intrigue has kind of risen in your ex's mind, and we then need to be hitting them with the new you, the new version 2.0. It's like a double whammy. If and when they contact you, they would already be growing intrigue. But if they contact you and then they see that you're a version 2.0 of yourself, they will be blown away. They will be shocked. This will give you an increased possibility of your ex wanting you again. And this is an important part for me to mention, because if and when your ex contacts you, that doesn't mean they want you back. They could be coming from a place of friendship, platonic friendship, for instance, or they could be coming from any other angle. It doesn't necessarily mean they want you back. What it does mean is that they're intrigued about you. And if you use point number 1, which is stopping the rot, and in essence that is using my version of the no contact rule, you can find more details of that in my other podcasts that I've uploaded. Please check them out. But if you do this, if you stop the rot in point number 1, if you use my version of the no contact rule, that will start to grow the intrigue in your ex's mind. And that will increase the possibility of them one day reaching out to you, in which they will then be hit by the version 2.0 of yourself. So you might be saying to yourself, how do I become a version 2.0? What do I need to do to get to that stage? Well, for every single person, it will be a bit different, because you're all different people. Everybody's unique. But you need to become a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. That is the way you need to be thinking of it. Every day, small improvements. Every day moving forward. This has got to be everything. Let's start off with physical attraction. What can you do to be more physically attractive? Well, the first thing you can do is increase your health and fitness, improve your health and fitness. Be the type of person who is living a healthier, fitter life. Make sure you are getting enough sleep. Make sure you are eating healthy. Make sure you are having enough exercise every single day. Exercise doesn't have to be something which is extreme. You know, I've said this in other podcasts. I always suggest going on a walk, doing some sit-ups, or riding on an exercise bike. I've said in other podcasts, something that I do is I have my exercise bike in a room in my house in which I cross often. I pass that exercise bike often during just the day, during the day that I'm living in my house. And if and when I cross that exercise bike, I pass it, I sometimes think, you know what, I'm going to jump on it for a few minutes. And if you do that a few times a day, then that few minutes can add up. It might be 20 minutes a day. That's 20 minutes a day of exercise, but you probably wouldn't even realise you have done, because you are fitting it in around your schedule. You can be riding an exercise bike when you're watching television. You can be riding an exercise bike when you're doing multiple other things. It is very, very accessible, and something I do suggest you do if you have an exercise bike. Going on walks is very important as well. Doing sit-ups is another idea I suggest, because you don't really need much room to be doing it. You can just do it within your house. If you do these types of things, you will improve your health and fitness. You will become more attractive, because the byproduct of increased health and fitness is looking more physically attractive. So increase your sleep, eat healthily, get enough exercise, make sure you remove bad substances from your life. You don't need me to tell you what they are. If you are having bad substances in your life, remove them, and not only will you be naturally healthier, but as I've just said, the byproduct of that is you will look more physically attractive. But what else can you do to become a version 2.0 of yourself? It's not just about physical attraction. You need to be improving yourself in every single perspective. Look at your skill set. What can you do to improve? Are you good at cooking? Being someone who can cook a good meal is very valuable. Somebody who can cook a good meal is somebody who is very attractive. If you don't know how to cook, then start to learn now. If you can cook to an adequate level, Then why not learn how to become better at that skill? Why not try to get to chef standard, you might say? But what about other skills? You want to add some colour to your personality. Speaking of colour, maybe you want to learn how to draw, how to paint, how to do art. Maybe you want to learn how to play a musical instrument. Maybe you want to learn how to speak a new language. Maybe you're thinking, look, I want to improve myself where I work. I want to move up that ladder. Well, what can you do to do that? What can you do to move up the ladder at your work? What can you do to start a new business? Do you need to go to college? Do you need to go to university? Can you do an online course? What can you do to improve yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically? All of these things will help you become a version 2.0 of yourself. There are many other examples. The examples are endless. Maybe you want to be better around the house. Maybe you want to be somebody who knows more about just day-to-day things, such as how to change a car tyre. All of these things will add to your skill set. Become a version 2.0 of yourself and you will become more naturally confident. The way you speak to people will be more confident. Your communication skills will be more confident if you have more skills. So becoming a version 2.0 of yourself is vital, not only to try and get your ex back, but if you don't get them back, you will attract somebody even better because your attraction net will be larger. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about how to make someone want you again, get your ex back after a breakup. And point number 3 is make new connections. Now, when you've been dumped, the last thing you often want to do is make new connections. But trust me, this is the best thing that you can do. There is something called social proofing, which is on the basis that people are influenced by how others treat somebody. So let's try to make this a little bit more simple to understand. If you've been dumped and you spend time with somebody new, then your ex will be more inclined to see value in you. Because if somebody else sees value in you, then therefore you must be valuable. That is the basis of social proofing. If you can make new connections, then you are going to be somebody who's moving forward with their life with positivity and looking towards the future. You can't sit in a rut. You can't stand still. You have to move forward. If you do the 3 things I'm suggesting, you're stopping the rot, using my version of a no contact rule, being the type of person who respects their ex's decision, and growing intrigue by living their life and accepting the breakup and not bothering their ex. You're not losing any value, and instead your ex will start to become intrigued as for what you might be doing with your life. This will increase the possibility of your ex contacting you one day. If they do, point number 2, you will be a version 2.0 of yourself, and you will have an increased possibility of really wowing your ex by your new improvements that they will see, they will hear, they will read. But if you do point number 3, if you make new connections, then you'll be taking things to the next level. Your ex will always hear things about you, even if you're not connected on social media. Trust me, exes have an uncanny ability to keep track of what their former partner is up to. I don't know how they do this all the time, but often, even when you don't think your dumper knows about your current life, often they do. Whether it's social media, friends of friends, various other possibilities, they will often find out about these things. So if you're making new connections, if you're the type of person who is out there into the world, mixing with new people, this will likely get back to your ex. And even if it doesn't straight away, if and when they contact you, this might just naturally come out in conversation. You might just say, oh, I've joined this new club, I've joined this new class, I've joined this new group. And your ex will be thinking, okay, what are we doing there? And you might be saying, well, I do this, whatever this is, whatever this club, group or class is, you are likely to then start mixing with these new people socially. If you start doing this, making new connections, even if they're just platonic at first, your ex will start to think that you have more value upon you due to social proofing like I've just mentioned. If you combine all of these 3 things, point 1, 2, and 3, you will increase the possibility of your ex wanting you again. Your ex will want you because you've stopped the rot, you are not losing any more value, and instead you are stabilising, respecting their decision, and growing intrigue. Point number 2, if and when they contact you, you're a version 2.0 of yourself. You've gone out into the world and you're improving yourself in every single way. They will be wowed by what they now see, hear, and read. And point number 3, if you make new connections, if you're going off into the world, joining new clubs, groups, classes, doing online dating, living your life to the full, your ex will either hear about this just in the world as it seems, or maybe they will contact you and it will just come out in conversation. This will increase their intrigue even further. Initially, some intriguing message from your ex might be something that they're not really too sure of why they're even doing it. They might feel compelled to message you, but they don't really think they want you back at this point. But after a conversation and realising you're a version 2.0 of yourself, realising you're making new connections and other people want to spend time with you, this could really push your ex into a position where they now start to grow lots more romantic emotional attraction. It moves up the scale. You can see the graph going upwards now, past intrigue and into desire, into something where they're feeling lustful and even romance. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, but if you do these 3 things, you will increase the possibility of making your ex want you again one day. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.